hello, Stephen. It's just so great to have your company.
Hello, Trev. Good to be here.
Highlight of my week.
Yeah, me too.
Just because I don't see people normally.
Yeah.
It's just nice to...
Breaks up the week nicely, don't you think?
Honestly, I think it does.
So the week goes like this. And then, is that how yours goes?
Which bit am I? Am I at the peak?
The peak.
Oh, okay, just
middle
check
bit.
it. Yeah,
The middle
100%. 100%.
Middle of the week,
Well,
and then,
It's hump day in a good way.
Yeah, hump day. I find my weeks are very busy early on.
Right.
Thursday it tapers off. Friday's pretty not. It's sort of easing into the weekend.
Yeah.
And I've done that deliberately, structured it
100%.
so that I can
Well done.
just sort of wind down on the Friday and just sort of enjoy a weekend, just
Bloody oath.
not do any work.
As
That's
you
good.
damn well should.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's the go.
But I think it's probably because you don't, like, as we work alone and essentially
Yeah.
from home, we don't have that human connection. And, I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah.
I don't even
less than me. You don't like talking to people.
I had a
don't
bloke.
mind it.
I did a segment on Today Extra like 3 weeks ago about irons and steamers. It was one of my best. Anyway, they were all downstairs and I had to get them all boxed up. Vivi did that. Vivi's very good reboxing stuff.
Yeah,
so
right.
very good. And
Pay her what?
yeah,
Good for you.
she's a new warehouse manager.
Oh, there you go. So Jackson just overlooked
Well, he
it.
brushed me and went to Coles.
Gone.
Yeah, he went
See
to
ya.
Coles. See you later,
later.
buddy. Anyway, so they were sitting together and I said, you can come get them. And I've got that table out the front now and I just go, you know what, just put it out here. Just put it out there. And I said, because I had the Today Show a fair bit of Monday morning, I said, look, I'm not going to be there, so they'll be outside. I must have been here when they came and I heard this on the door downstairs. I'm thinking, geez, mate. It was Tuesday morning because I'd done something and then I was just doing my radio.
Yeah.
So I'm standing at the top of the stairs on the phone going, like quiet, whatever.
Yeah.
And they stood there. They were two blokes because Appliances Online is winning Appliances, the delivery and everything. So they have pretty good delivery people. So they're standing at the front. And I'm thinking, well, what's the issue, mate? Just pick them up and go.
Yeah.
Like they weren't labelled or, in a big brown box or anything. It was just 5 irons and steamers. I get off the radio. I go downstairs and I open the door and the bloke goes, I go, sorry, mate, I was just on the phone. And he goes,
Aren't you Trevor Long from the Today Show?
He goes, are you on the radio? I went, yeah. He goes, I was listening this morning. It was Tuesday morning.
You got a
He
head
goes,
for radio, is that
I
what
was
he said?
listening to Triple M. And I go, oh, good on you, mate. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
And turns out that they were expecting 3 parcels, not 5. And I went, mate, just honestly,
Think
take
on,
them.
Think on your feet.
I just said, here's what I said. I said, listen, the 2 that they left were Tefal. I said, I got stuff from Appliances Online, Big W. These are definitely not from Big W. They're more expensive than that. I said, just take them. If Appliances Online don't want them back, give them to your wife. I'm pretty sure they want them back though.
Yeah.
But that was a nice public social interaction, not because he recognised me,
Yep.
but because the barrier is broken down. There's, I don't know. I need a way to get into a conversation. I can talk for 20 minutes to someone, no dramas, as long as a connection is made in some way. Whereas you could talk to anyone at any time for hours.
Yeah, I can. But
We're different like that.
It is, yeah, we are. We're, and it is good when you get recognised for your voice, which has happened to me a fair bit.
It's weird,
People
isn't it?
say, oh, don't you talk on 2GB? I said, yeah, I do. And they go, yeah, I listen.
It's really useful when Stephen picks someone from a millennial generation or even what's after that,
Gen,
Z?
millennial. And
Anyway,
Gen
young
Z,
people.
Yeah.
And like when today I was paying for lunch, I tapped and she said, what name? I said, Trevor. He goes, Trevor Long from the Today Show.
So it's
and I'm
from
like,
the Today Show.
this poor woman.
And she looked at me as if to say, that
what are
means
you
nothing
talking
to me.
about? Yeah.
No,
She's
might have
never
recognised
watched
you.
television.
I think she locked in and thought, oh, okay, I know
No,
what you mean. You don't
definitely
reckon?
not. There's a big chance the bloke behind us,
I love doing that to you.
who was like 60, he smiled.
yeah.
So he was more along the lines as that was pretty
gets a little
funny.
bit embarrassed, but I love saying it, and I say it loud too. Whenever I say, "Aren't you Trevor from the Today
We'll
Show?"
do that.
When we get somewhere.
Yeah, we'll be like arriving in Cupertino and you'll be like just at an airport yelling it loud.
And I love how you squirm. You're thinking, "Oh, you idiot!" I love it. Love making you uncomfortable. What is that? Is that something wrong with me if I like that or what?
All those words like narcissist and different, personality profiles. That's what you are.
The making you embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
do
like
reckon
being
there's a type of person?
outgoing?
No. What's a type of? What is a type of person who likes to make other people uncomfortable?
No, sorry. It's only you I like to make uncomfortable, not other people. Just you. Okay, just you. But my nature is I can strike up a conversation with people.
Sorry, Quora, the question and answer website. Why do some people like making others uncomfortable? The first answer is they are bullies.
Bully. He's a bully. I'm a bully.
So he's not a narcissist.
I thought I'm like a prankster, really. Like
Yeah,
it's more
look,
of a prank. Than
To be
anything.
clear, he's not a bully in any way, shape,
Be
or
more a prankster,
form.
I think. Prankster.
But now I'm in it. Now I'm in a rabbit hole. Another outcome here is the Trinity College in Dublin, from psychopaths to everyday sadists.
Psychopaths.
Why do humans? I've got to click now. Why do humans? What? I've got to know.
Yeah. So you think
Why
I'm a
do
psychopath as well?
humans harm the harmless? Oh, that's a bit nice. So it's not really a research
I'm
study.
harmless. Jeez, you're going down a rabbit hole here, mate.
Wow. There was something the other day I Googled. It was like a celebrity. When you hear a story and you're like, I need to know more about that, and you Google it.
Yeah.
You know what it was? And I don't care. It's on TikTok, right?
Yep.
I was watching Michael Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's dad, I'm pretty sure, used to have a cheap TV show in the 60s or 70s about the kids, interviewing the kids.
Yep.
He's making great guns on social using all that content, right?
Yep.
Anyway, he gets on and he's just doing a piece to camera talking, like not apologising, just saying, I'm glad I just got paid out $170,000 in a settlement. It took 30 years, but I'm glad, or something. He's just going on. And I'm like, can we have some context here, mate? And the search down the bottom, TikTok suggests a search. It was like Michael Barrymore controversy or something. So I just Googled Michael Barrymore controversy. Now, I wish I took a screenshot, but I don't think I did. In search results, you don't see the full title ever, because that would just be difficult to show everything every time, because some titles are just really, really long. There was all these Michael Barrymore, controversy after something after poo incident with poo, and I'm like, whoa, what? And all the other ones were pool. Anyway, I clicked the link. It was just that it had cut off right at the wrong time. Right at the wrong time. It had cut off this one search result. But that's the one I clicked.
Oh.
Because I thought if there's a controversy I want to know about, that's got to be a bad one.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a pool controversy. Some bloke died at a party he held.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know why he got obviously a defamation payout. And if you're listening, Michael, love your work.
Yeah.
And I don't think you did anything, because I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
But it was just funny search result to see. I now wonder where my titles get cut off on a Google search. I'm like, oh no, I wonder if
because the screen isn't what is you are looking on your phone.
the results aren't wide enough, or even just on a standard Google search, they like this. Well, I don't worry that because it'll give away what we're going to talk about. It stops there and it gives you dots.
Yeah.
I don't think Google
That's clickbait. It's
on the
called.
web.
You
No,
don't have to click.
No, it's just that the title's too long.
Yeah, I understand.
I just would
Can't
hate
they
for
have a second line? Don't they have a return key in there?
Yeah, but you can't put two lines on a headline.
Says who?
Google.
Okay, it's only one line.
Only one line. Yeah, don't make your title too long.
So
mate.
that's why good SEO is short, sharp headline.
Short, sharp headline, yeah. Which is why you rule the roost, because you're a headline man.
Clickbaity.
You've done some headlines in your time.
I have.
Written them, not been part of them.
Yep. My most proud headline?
Oh, you've told me it before, but go on.
Yeah. No, well, there's two. There's two. The one that I'm still get talked about today is when Australia beat India in the Test matches.
Get that India.
That was mine. And the other one was when the Bulldogs went over the salary cap, and Tim Sheens, who I think was coaching the Tigers or Cowboys at the time. He wanted to buy a lot of the players that they're going to have to get rid of, and headline was, "How much is that doggy in the window?" And I had a shot of Sheens,
Tim Sheens with a shopping
put his
cart?
head with a shopping cart, like with a shopping cart. Yeah, probably my proudest back page.
That stuff doesn't happen on the internet, really, does it?
No, that's the thing. The lost art of newspaper headline
But,
writing.
it should, and I think it could, because the number of times I get a screenshot from Amanda of a Batuta Advocate story.
Yeah.
And I've never read the story.
They
it's
share
the headline.
The headline, yeah, sure.
The headline and the photo, because the photo is normally something comical.
That's one thing I had to learn from starting Tech Guide from 25 years in newspapers, was that a clever headline doesn't always work on the internet.
No.
It needs to make you want to click it. Like if there some sort of you buy a newspaper, you've already bought the newspaper, so you want to draw attention to the different stories, whereas the internet's completely different, where the person's got to actually click through on that headline. And so I had to relearn or unlearn a few things and sort of put more words and keywords and various things like that in headlines. Yeah.
Well,
steep learning
you do
curve.
them well.
Yeah.
How much is that doggy in the window? All right, Stephen, time for this.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech
Not a bad price.
with Trevor Long from EFTM.com
Really handy device.
and Stephen Fenech from TechGuide.com.au.
Great to have your company. Episode 633 of Two Blokes Talking Tech. Thanks to the great people at Netgear and Arlo for all your Wi-Fi needs. They've got you covered at Netgear, and we'll tell you about them shortly. And if you need home security, nothing better than Arlo and their amazing range of both cameras and their Arlo Secure subscription service, which gives you access to a range of great features. Stephen, Adelaide, South Australia, in the news this week, not because of... Why else would they be in the news? The barrels and bodies in the barrels?
It's not Gather Round.
No, bodies in the barrel.
Oh, yeah. Is that
Snowtown?
Snowtown, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was in South Australia.
Yeah, wow.
I don't think South Australia is famous for
A
anything else,
lot
is
of
it?
great white shark attacks down there too. South Australia, a lot of sharks
Okay.
down
A lot
there.
of churches, apparently. City of
city
churches.
churches, that's correct.
I've got nothing else.
Yeah. Well,
Does Adelaide have anything else?
Young Premier?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. But I'm just trying to think of, is there anything Adelaide's famous for? This is a headline-grabbing
Adelaide
exercise
Oval?
then.
Adelaide
yeah,
Oval?
good.
Yeah.
So they're in the news because their Premier, Peter Malinauskas, has decided that he's investigating, and he's got like a High Court judge or someone looking into this. He's investigating a ban on kids under 14 and under, having social media. And I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in the history of politics.
Okay. Early shot there. What is the current limit? 13.
No, there's no current limit from a legal government
So you're saying that
legislative
anyone
perspective.
can join. There's no need to prove your age. You just have to have an email address.
Well, no. At a government level, there's no legislation.
Right.
At a platform level, Meta, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they all require you to be 13.
Right.
You got to be 13. In America, it's 8, by the way, for TikTok. But in Australia, it's 13.
That's how long is going to last in America, though, TikTok. That's a story for another day.
Another day. So in Australia, if you're 13, you can get a TikTok account. If you're 13, you can get an Instagram account.
Yes.
But this guy reckons he can change the date. He can just go, no, it's got to be a different number here. Now,
but that's an opinion, though.
Yes, but he's talking about legislating it. He's talking about making this a thing. He's talking about a government.
As you're entitled to if it's you're the head of the government.
All right. How do you do it?
Well, look, let's first talk about why he wants to do it. I think that your negative reaction to it is that you think, good luck trying to do that. My reaction to it is I appreciate why he wants to do that, the sentiment behind it. So trying to do it and the reason to do it are two different things here. I think where your reaction to it was that, good luck trying to do that. Am I right?
I just hate politicians wasting time.
But
and
am
money.
I right, though? You're thinking...
I think it's a bit of both.
Good luck getting it done.
I don't think it's a government's job to stop people doing things like social media. I think it's a parent's job when it comes to kids. If we're talking about people under 18, it's not the government's job.
But the government,
parents.
The governments make the laws. See, the laws are created by governments.
Yeah.
And if this is something that and look, he hasn't just pulled this out of his hat. He's looked at studies and the effects of social media and various things like that, and he's come to a conclusion and he's got a couple of young kids himself who are sort of moving to that age. He's come to the conclusion, we need to do something about this.
Yeah.
And it is what now, 13? So he's suggesting enforcing it. I think it's kind of the suggestion to be 13 rather than strictly 13. Am I right?
Well,
So
no.
You could go on Instagram and make an account if you're under 13.
Well, this is getting to you can put a different date of birth in.
Yeah.
This is getting to the point of how do you enforce such a thing?
Exactly. I know, but it is going to require, or what he suggested. One thing was that it needed a parent's approval. So you need to get a parent to sign off on you signing in.
Right.
So
how do you do that?
Well, how did you do it with your kids?
When they all want it.
Yep.
And then when they turn 13, they're allowed to have it.
Okay.
They sit down, they sign a digital contract.
Right.
2-page document that outlines how they need to operate and act and behave online.
That you created.
Yes.
Right.
And they sign it, and then we create accounts for them.
But you...
And again, this is... I just want to be real clear. I want to be real clear.
Yeah.
I'm not the perfect parent. I don't have the perfect answers.
Yeah.
This is just what we do, and we've had our issues, don't get me wrong, with social media.
Yeah.
But when my daughter signed up to Instagram and TikTok, I immediately added her as a child to my account because those features exist.
Right.
So I can see, I get notifications when she adds new friends on Instagram. I get notifications when she has new comments or makes a comment. I get notifications on TikTok. I can limit her screen time on TikTok. These are all parental controls that exist, right?
Of course. Yep.
Number of people using them, Buckley's and not many, right?
Yep.
So that's what we do. Now, there'd
But
be plenty of people.
There'd be plenty of parents who have no idea that those features even existed.
Correct.
Right.
And that's
but hang on. But so let's go back a step. So you decided when because this is Meta, so Instagram, Facebook. Their suggested age is 13.
Well, no,
right.
the
rule is 13.
Their rule is 13 and up.
Right. So they set that age limit.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't the government suggest an age limit?
Because how does the government enforce it?
Well, how does Facebook enforce it?
But so the government is going to set a regulation that says Facebook needs to say if you're in South Australia, your age needs to be 14, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think no. Well, I think the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and if South Australia went down this path, I reckon all the other premiers would go down that path.
So let's say Australia does it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So then, and let's say Facebook says cool, whatever, and we'll change the age, right?
Yeah.
Then, who the hell's enforcing that?
Well, the parents would.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
There are 11-year-olds on
just
TikTok.
like you are
Yes, but
enforcing it.
I don't want to brag to you.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority. Okay? Most parents don't give a rat's.
Okay.
They give their kids phones way too early. They let them have free access to all the apps. They don't have permission granting for app downloads. They don't know their kids have got a Snapchat account or an Instagram account. They just do it. The kids just set them up.
Don't you reckon that's a problem, though?
Yes.
That's a problem.
And that's what the government should be addressing. The government should be addressing the problem that parents need the tools. Parents, they should be spending whatever. They've got a Queen's Court jury, whatever dude,
Queen's Counsel.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's a dude that's going to clearly get paid by the government to look into this. There's going to be time and effort spent. That money should be spent building education programs, offering... Mate, we should have a parents' helpline. We've got a kids' helpline. We've got Lifeline. And I know this is not as big an issue as suicide. I get it. But I said this morning on radio. I would volunteer my time as much as I could. It might only be 2 hours a week. But I would sit waiting for a call from a random parent in Australia to call some helpline and go, I don't know how to do this. And I would give them advice. I would give them my thoughts. I would not tell them what to do. I would give them thoughts. Parents need help. Non-digital parents need help.
You don't think this is the help that could potentially be given to them?
Because those kids are not asking those parents. Those kids are just getting an account. And the horse is bolted. If they set up an account when they're 10, 11, 12 or 13 and they've got an account, they're playing with it, their mental state has already been ruined by it by the time their parent finds out about it.
So I'll ask you this then. Do you agree with that age?
No.
14?
No.
But it's 13 now. So what, a year is going to change the world?
No, that's exactly it. It's not going to change the world.
So you're saying that it's
unless you're going to make it 18,
you're
going to make it 18, which by the way is entirely enforceable because by then you have some form of ID which can be verified digitally. You raised a point earlier that you'd mentioned on the radio. You can't set up a sports bet account.
Yeah,
Jackson
exactly
can't randomly create a sports bet account like he did an Instagram account back in the day. So make it 18.
Yeah. Well, you can't though because social media, it's not.
Hang on, you can't. Why not?
Well, no, because 18, just the age, I think is probably too old. It's like you should be able to get on. So, like, I agree with 14. You know what? I'd go so far as to say make it 15.
But if it's 15, make it 18, and then it's entirely enforceable. If a government said it should be 18, the government can require, like sports bet, like other things, that it's enforceable. Exactly. It's not enforceable, therefore it's never going to happen. Why does this bloke... This is a waste of taxpayers' money and time that he would even raise this without having a solution.
But the fact that we're talking about it and parents would be made more aware of it, that there are things that can be done. There are things like I don't mind his motivation. Like the thought,
don't mind his
sentiment,
motivation.
why he's doing it. I 100% agree with.
Sure,
that social media is not for everyone at that age, and it causes problems, mate. You've heard all the horror stories. Kids committing suicide and all these dramas from social media. I think kids need to be his approach is kids need to be a bit more mature before they dive into social media.
A lot of people believe that before a child is 18, you should let them have a drink at home, and you should kind of get them used to it, whatever, right?
Yep.
I don't really have a strong opinion on that. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Social media needs to be the same. At some point, you need to get on it, and you need to have these conversations. Here's my philosophy or problem with this whole thing. This shouldn't be about a rule. It should be about parenting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's as simple as that. Jackson, on his own, said to me, can you put a 42-minute, random number, 42-minute time limit on TikTok for me per day? I went, yeah, no dramas, buddy. Yeah. Victoria, upon learning that, and only weeks after having social media, asked for the same thing, a very strict time limit on TikTok, because she realised she was
spending hours on it,
when she has her mates around and they're frigging around with dances and stuff, she goes, can I have the code? And I type the code, and she gets more time. Here's the thing, as a parent, I know, but as a parent, if you're not noticing, so I can kind of notice the vibe of a child. It's different. They're off. Anything happened at school today? No. And then you're like, something happened on your phone.
Yeah, right.
Someone say something in a chat group. No. Did you see something on TikTok that you didn't like? You've got to have these conversations.
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course. Yeah.
You've got to have it as a family.
Well, there was when my kids were younger, Facebook was all the rage, right?
Yeah.
So Facebook was, I think it was the Gens 13. And I said to my kids, I said, look, you can get on Facebook, but I'm your friend. Your mum's your friend. If you cut us, you lose your account. Because I heard other parents saying, as soon as they joined Facebook, they unfriended us. I said, what?
Yeah.
I said, that's the rule. If you unfriend me, you've lost your account.
Yes.
And that was the deal. So I could see them. I could observe it. And, social media back then was a lot different to what it is now. And
mate, it's so much worse now because you can have all these rules, but Snapchat is completely out of the reach of parents because Snapchat disappears instantly.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know what's been said or shown or whatever. And, mate, the government, I agree there is merit in the thought process. But the approach of creating the idea of a ban or a change in its access is wrong. What we need is help for parents. Parents
more
need
parental,
help.
Yeah, because I get, and you would get 2 emails. Look, how do I stop my child is on YouTube all day or on Snapchat, Instagram? How do I? And I'd say, look, parental controls and this and that. But then they've got to agree to. You got to get on the phone and set the limits. So you've got to get on your account. So there's a bit of work to it.
Mate, the kid can. There are rules around buying vapes.
Yeah.
Why is there a vaping problem in schools? Yeah. Because kids just get them.
Because kids can get them. Yeah.
You can't smoke, and you can't buy smokes until you're 18.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
16. I think it's 16.
Oh, whatever it is. But there's kids smoking before that age, right?
Yeah, right.
You can't drink until you're 18. That's definitely happening. So rules like that don't really work. We know that. But kids will get around it.
It's kind of coming from the same ballpark where the problem here is that your child has to be ready for that. Like if the drinking age was 14, it'd be a problem because a 14-year-old really can't handle alcohol. Yeah, slightly older, more mature, different. So I think in the social media world, where if there is like whether he makes it so that you have to have sign off from your parents and lifts the age, sign off from your parents. And
impossible. Talk me through that. How does that happen?
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't.
They can put a man on the moon. I'm sure they can think of a way to do this in a way that is satisfactory to the platforms, the users, the parents. And I agree with you that there needs to be more help for parents here. Kids are pretty savvy and can get around a few things. If the parent has a bit more of a say and a bit more control at that age, then when they're 18, do what you want. But from 14 onwards, 13 onwards, you need someone to hold your hand a little bit and don't go head first into it without a bit of guidance.
No, it doesn't matter whether it's 13, 14 or 15. They need the hand hold and the parents need to be across it.
And see, the pressure's on them.
That's my point. It doesn't matter what age you pick.
And I'm sure you've had this too, right? I remember when my kids were younger, they go, my friend's got a phone.
Exactly.
How come I don't? Or they're on Instagram, why don't I? Right? So the pressure's on from the word go, right? So if their friends get on there, they want to get on there too. But again, it's sort of delving a little bit deeper into this whole thing where it can create sort of social situations and social issues and kids sort of their opinion of themselves is different and how they present themselves to the world. It can create some mental issues,
100%.
mental health issues.
My underlying problem here is a politician, knowingly going for headlines because this was always going to get headlines. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't understand it well enough.
Because he's a young
politician
parent too.
knowingly suggesting something that he simply can't do. It'd be like Jim Chalmers coming out in the budget and going, and we hope to give everyone $10,000 in future budgets.
Yeah, right.
It's just not going to happen, mate.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, but I don't think
what
it's
are you talking about?
I don't think what he suggested isn't impossible. It'd be hard.
I think it is.
It'd be hard to do, but I think it's like, aim for the stars and hope you hit the moon sort of thing. He's sort of out there with this sort of bold plan, but if you can get people talking, those platforms talking, people like us talking, then it's kind of it moves the needle a little bit.
Mate, Mark Zuckerberg couldn't give a rat's what the Premier of South Australia said.
I'm sure they're still running scam ads on Facebook.
It might hit his desk if the Prime Minister of Australia brought it up. They might have to have a briefing and work something out, but it ain't registering a dot because the South Australian Premier mentioned something.
Well, I think bringing it to light like this and bringing it out in the open and talking about it, I think it's a bit of progress there.
If he as a parent needs this for himself, then he as a parent knows that parents need help. They don't need legislation; they need help.
Yeah, I think
that's what we should be doing.
The platforms already have that sort of. You were saying about Instagram. I reckon most parents wouldn't even know about
100%.
And so, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
If they're taught that, if there's an education from the platforms,
because I believe, and again, it's a personal experience belief, but I believe most of the parents, A, don't know about it, and B, don't realise how quickly the kids are subverting their ideas and their rules. You know, it's very easy to do unless you properly crack down on it, unless you properly enforce it. I remember so many times I'd have parents, we'd be at dinner or something, they'd go, oh, a kid got around the Apple screen time. And I go, sorry, hang on a minute. Yeah, he found a bug.
No, of course he did, yeah.
He got the password because that's the only way around it.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's tight. Unless you've opened it up, it's tight. If you type the password in front of them, they're going to see it. So you always find a reason.
Mate. They're
I'm
savvy.
sorry.
Yeah.
You know, kids can't get around some good restrictions that exist. But more importantly, if you've got an 11-year-old who's desperate to be on Instagram and you as a parent don't care, great. Let them on, create a fake birth date and all that kind of stuff. But only if you're having those conversations about the kind of thing they're going to see.
Yeah.
It's like one of the radio stations said to me this morning, something along the lines of, and what about, pornography? And I said, mate, back in my day, you had to sneak into a newsagent, maybe buy a People magazine and put it behind Wheels magazine and hope that the newsagent didn't make a big fuss, right?
Yeah.
And sneak it out. These days, you can look up the most horrific, hardcore things and it says, are you 18? And you go, yes, I am. And that's it. Right? So,
God, imagine we had the internet when we were young.
I would never have left my room. I never did anyway. But no. But the thing is, as a parent, you've got to know this exists.
Yeah, I know. But also too, like
if you don't know it exists, you're not talking about it with your kids, right?
Well, you mentioned sort of the monitoring situation.
Yeah.
Where you got to keep an eye. That was the rule for my kids. I said, look, the reason I want to be your friend is because I want to see what you're doing. I want to see what people are saying because you've got your aunties and uncles and everyone's on there. So I want to see what you're up to. And so and being so young and not having really any history with social media, they didn't realise that what they say there and do there, everyone's going to see.
Yeah.
There's really, and I think we've mentioned on past shows, there were a couple of incidents where I had to step in and say, take that down.
Yeah.
No, and not just for my kids, but even their friends, what they were saying online.
Let me give you a wild legislative idea.
What's that? Make Trevor the Premier of South Australia.
Enforcing parental responsibility by saying, here's the law that we're passing. If your kids defame, bully, harass, do something in the comments online, no, we won't prosecute them, we won't name them, but we will come to your home and we will prosecute you in whatever way. Now, that might be a fine. I don't think it'd be jail time.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you the incident that we had years ago that caused a lot of grief in our life on social media, there's kids' names that I have registered up here and I've got screenshots of what they said.
Yeah.
And, mate, I don't forget. So if one of those kids comes to me at some point or their dad goes, hey, he's a good kid, isn't he? I'd go, let me just dig up a quick screenshot here. And I'd be like, you didn't even know this happened.
Yeah.
You didn't even know this happened. But if someone knocked on your door and said, your son wrote this and you've been fined $100 for it, you'd be like, what the hell? And, mate, it'd be hell to pay. So that's the only, I don't want it to happen, by the way.
Accountability.
But accountability on parents. Because you've got kids, I mean, it's funny, Queensland radio station said to me today when we were talking about this, they go, we've got 12, 16-year-olds stealing cars
stealing
and driving
cars.
them.
Yeah, I was just going to say
Is this really the issue
Yeah.
we want to?
Yeah.
Is this the thing you're going to die on a hill for?
Yeah. If they're not out stealing a car, they're going to be at home on doing something online.
So someone knocks on your door and says, "We've got your son. He's in the back of the DV van and he just stole a car.
Yeah.
You have to come with us." And
Also, you
and
mean
sign
make the
some
parents
paperwork.
responsible?
The
Mate.
parent's going to absolutely panic, hopefully.
Yeah.
So why don't we make parents responsible for their kids on social media?
Mate, 1,000%.
But the only way to do that
is
is if we go back to which I think was part of that Erin Molan plan, and I don't think Albo's talked about it since, is the whole, shouldn't everyone online be identified? This is the problem. The biggest problem is anonymity on the internet.
Yeah.
Kids shouldn't be allowed to create anonymous accounts. Here's a new one. Every social media account created in South Australia or Australia must be linked to a mobile number and verified. Okay?
Yeah.
Because then you can put a fake Gmail address, you can put a fake photo, fake name. But that mobile number, the feds can trace that.
Yeah.
And we go, look, that's the people that can knock on the door. We set up an arm of the law enforcement. There's just a call centre that goes, well, here's a comment. Who did it? Here's the phone number. Is it a real phone number? Is that a child or a parent? Let's get in touch and let's find them $100. I know it's ridiculous.
Sounds a little bit Big Brother.
But where's the response? But isn't saying you get 14 a Big Brother thing as well?
Yeah, but we're talking about something different though. With being like who's reading all the comments and saying, oh, that's not appropriate. Like who decides that?
There's got to be reporting processes.
Yeah, I suppose if you are involved in this and something said about you, you got to be able to report
I got some names.
Yeah. But I've reported plenty of things, and Facebook, for example, would come back and say, "Oh no, didn't breach community
Facebook's
guidelines."
A joke.
Yeah, don't worry. No,
TikTok,
didn't breach. Yeah,
I'll take stuff down for no reason. A heartbeat.
Yeah, you know about that, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't said the word D-head on TikTok in some time. I lost my count.
Yeah. I remember, geez, you lost your account. You would have been hitting the panic button then, mate.
That was wild.
Temporary.
I made some calls real quick.
Temporary lockdown, was it?
No, it was banned.
It was going to be.
It was gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because you called someone a D-head.
5 times. 5 different people in a row.
Wow. In the comments, or you
in
were
the comments?
Yeah, right.
In the comments, yeah.
Jeez, eh? That
Bullying
is
and
Big
harassment.
Brother.
And what I've
Can't get away with that in China, mate.
I've noticed a lot now on TikTok. Because TikTok is aggressive on their takedowns, which I support. But they've got to have a flexible, get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
I get a lot now of people reporting my content as branded paid partnerships. Oh. And so I get these things, you've got 5 days to confirm it's not a paid partnership. I'm like, it's not a paid partnership. It's a review, or it's my opinion. Or I don't care if you think it's glowing. It's just not.
Yep.
Because there's not enough disclosure online. But see, TikTok, I still think, has the best procedures and processes, despite the fact that they're a bit overbearing, when you compare them to Facebook, who are still allowing scam ads online and people to get ripped off
it's the
and
Wild West.
hacked and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And isn't that you know how many people who someone's I can't get it back into my Facebook account, and
so often
there's just no process. There's nothing. There's no one, unless you pay for a Meta verified account, you have no Discord, no one to talk to, you're gone.
Yeah.
And so many people have come to me and said, "Oh, look, I've lost an account," and I've in many cases got their account back for them.
Correct. Yeah.
And because I know people, right?
Yeah.
But it's just all care, no responsibility. They're okay, well, that's bad luck. There's no course of action. And I'm not talking about people with.
No, we're just talking about
accounts.
everyday people. Same.
We're talking about people with business. Their businesses are on Facebook, or it's their company Facebook page.
Yes. But again, and this, I'll just bring it back slowly to the South Australia thing. You made the point to me at the very start of this where I mentioned some parental stuff, and you say parents don't know about it. They probably don't.
Yeah.
I think most people still don't realise that you won't lose your account if you lock it down, strong passwords, 2-factor authentication.
Exactly. I know.
We can talk about this till the cows come home.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's what stops it from happening. I almost don't care if you've had your Facebook account lost now. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've talked about it enough. If you don't have a strong password, you don't have 2-factor, you are putting that out there.
Yeah, you're asking for it.
You're asking for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not sure what we resolved there.
Well, look, let's.
I want to
let's
lock
both
parents up.
My summary is this, right? We'll give each our own summary.
Yep.
My summary is, I agree with the sentiment of what he wants to do. Don't agree with perhaps the logistics of it, how it can be achieved, if it's achievable. But I like where he's coming from.
All right, I don't mind where he's coming from, but I think it's entirely unrealistic, and I think it doesn't address the core problem, which is education of digital parents or non-digital parents in the digital world.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Pete, give us a call, mate. We'll happy for whatever your Queen's Counsel is charging. We'll come down and we'll spend a day.
We'll do it for half price, and that'd still be solid.
Day rate. I don't get out of bed for less than a lot. Day rate plus travel.
So you got an hourly
class.
rate and a day rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you have a day rate?
No, I just add up the hours.
Yeah. No, day rate. Yeah.
But is the day rate, if say
Pretty
it's
strong.
8 hours, if you charge me
way more than 8 hours,
times 8 hours, what your fee?
Yeah.
Is it more than that?
Yes.
You got an hourly fee.
Yes.
And you got a day rate.
Yes.
So this is interesting podcasting.
Yeah.
So say I hired you for 8 hours.
It's cheaper to hire me for the whole day.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um,
What do they say? You pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
yeah. Peanuts?
No thanks.
I'll be serious though.
Yeah.
I would never charge for that kind of advice. If
of course not, mate.
If especially if it was a premier, but if
of course.
someone who was genuine about this kind of thing wanted to,
Yep.
I would firstly I'd take the call. Secondly, I would come, and thirdly,
Yeah.
I'd suggest they bring Joanne Orlando. There's other people
Who was on the Tech Guide podcast this week, as a matter of fact.
Who was? Do you remember? Used to work in PR, like way back in the day. I feel like it was a deck or somewhere,
Yeah.
and used to do something for Norton or Alex Merton McCann.
Yes, she's like a
She's
parental.
she's now like the
like the
parents
parents.
tech mum, the
that's right.
security mum.
Yes.
Like you want
Yes.
people with experience and
No,
knowledge that
Joanne
live and
Orlando
breathe
is
this.
good. My 600th episode of Tech Guide, she's my guest, and
Yeah.
I talked to her for we talk about this issue in particular with parents, how they deal with their kids and social media, screen time. She'd be good.
I would
to have,
fill the room with,
with episode 600. Tech Guide.
knowledgeable people on that subject.
Absolutely,
don't you reckon?
mate. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for whatever we achieved just then. Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
And we did it all thanks to the great people at Netgear. And look, all you got to do is go to the website. You put in your email address, sign up to their newsletter. 10% off. 10% off the Netgear store. And that's well worth it when you consider the products on offer. Plus, there's great discounts every now and then there. $200 on the Orbi 960 mesh Wi-Fi system for a limited time. And the best part about the Netgear website is you hear us banging on about it. There's all these different options. Which Wi-Fi should I have? Well, there's a simple find your Orbi option. Sit there, tell it, answer all its questions, and it'll suggest which Orbi system is right for you. Because there's basically a good, best, small, medium, large, and it depends on what you want to connect, how much you connect, how big your house is, and those kind of things. So there's weekly offers on the Netgear website. You can shop Netgear for those exclusive offers on the best Wi-Fi solutions. All the details are at netgear.com.au.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
So many emails and calls coming through right now. I don't know. I think something might be happening. I'm a bit nervous.
Really?
But anyway, we'll battle on. Google I.O. was this week. This is like their WWDC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google I.O. is their gathering of. Well, they
What's
actually.
I/O stand for, by the way?
It's here.
Input, output?
No, the kind of the like Google. The original concept of Google is it's a number. It's like a big infinite
ones
number.
and zeros.
And so the number of ones and zeros. And so the I and the O is the 1 and the 0, the first part
Is
of
it?
the Google.
You don't know that, do you, for sure, do you?
Have you got... Okay. All right. No, now that you've said it, I'm going to look it up. Did you... I'm going to find it, right? Google...
I/O event, which is just finished overnight.
No, that's not it. Where is it? Here we go. I'll read it out to you. Fun fact. The name I/O comes from the number Google.
Yeah,
Number
which is
Google.
a really big number.
With the I representing the 1 in Google and the O representing the first O in the number.
Fascinating.
You can read more about this on Google's own website, blog.google, and it's the meaning of I/O, how the annual event got its name. See?
Boom.
I/O is
And
our
it was
annual
in
developer
Mountain
conference
View?
held each spring where we reveal the latest news and updates on platforms, products, and future innovations.
Righto.
So it's their WWDC,
Yes,
right?
it is,
But it's
absolutely.
fascinating. They have like a 2-hour keynote where they show off a bunch of things. And then like an hour and a half later, they have another keynote, which is for the nerds. Right? It's just
you
for the
mean
developers.
really sort of
like
deep in the
it's
weeds.
hardcore
Yeah,
stuff,
right,
right?
okay, yeah.
So what
You would have gone to the first session or the second session?
I wouldn't have gone to either.
First session.
I would have gone to the first. And look, I scanned through a lot of information about this morning, and the sense I got from it was they announced a bunch of new updates to their Gemini AI model.
Yep.
And by the way, we have not even on the list, but geez, what's it called? OpenAI announced a lot of stuff this week, which looks remarkable, like conversational AI in their app. Looks remarkable. And the broad reaction I got today from Google I/O was Google didn't do very well compared to what OpenAI did.
Yeah.
And we really hope, this is the tech community, we really hope Apple's partnering with OpenAI, not Google.
Yeah.
Because OpenAI seems to have the leg up, right?
Yeah.
So Gemini AI, huge advance. Like a couple of things. Google Photos. In the Google Photos app, you can basically ask really simple things like, can you bring up the best photos I've taken in national parks, and it'll bring those up.
Yeah.
So a little bit more conversational about your search.
Ask Photos.
Ask Photos.
So you talk to it.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
And then
and that's an AI powered thing. So
All
search.
AI-powered.
So we were talking about this before we hit record. So search has become hand in hand with AI now.
Yeah.
Has it taken over search?
In every place. So if you think about, I use the Google Photos app daily. I'll just search for a person, a place, a thing, whatever.
Photos of yourself and stuff.
What they're doing, totally. And what they're doing is they're making that more conversation with the Power by AI.
Okay.
And then when you go google.com, what we see is traditional search.
Yeah.
Then you end up with this unbelievable change they're making to the way we see the results. So I think the biggest change we saw to Google search over the time since it was born was when they went away from going, even when the first first results were ads, they pushed all that down and they go, here's the answer.
Yeah.
Like, convert
stand it out.
22 centimeters to inches. It just gives you an answer and a calculator right there on the page.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is the poor people that created websites to do that conversion. They're not going to get clicks anymore.
No.
And so then the plan is, as I understand it, their AI overviews will appear in that spot. So the top of the Google search result will have this little Gemini button, little kind of shiny, it looks like a globe,
star,
the icon, the star, AI overviews, and it'll give you an overview, like a summary of what you search for. So
it'll give you the answer and the whole.
The example they give on one of their gifts is how do you clean a fabric sofa, and it comes up with not just a basic instruction but a whole range of different resources around it, and essentially answers the question without you ever needing to visit a website. It's really taking the large language model understanding of your question along with the knowledge of its search and giving you that output.
So AI, and you know what? Would you agree Google's had a bit of a rough start with their AI? They've sort of had a. Remember when Bard first came out and there was like mistakes in the promotional video with various things like that? So they've had a bit of a rough trot, but they seem to be catching up pretty well.
They are definitely. But this is an arms race. This is the new. This is the new arms race because you've got OpenAI, Microsoft, Copilot, Microsoft's branded version of OpenAI, essentially. You got Google's Gemini, and then you've got
Amazon's working on something.
I'm sure they are.
Yep, and then we've got Apple in the background too,
which will probably be partnered with one of the
So you reckon? Would it be the same company that Microsoft owns? Would they go down that path?
Well, they don't own them. They're just a solid investor.
Massive
in it, right?
investor.
Yes.
So would you reckon that they would go down that path, or would they go hand in hand with Google to sort of gang up against Microsoft, or how would it work?
The word on the street is they've gone down the OpenAI path.
Really?
It appears from the speculation that they were dating both, and they've decided to marry. They've decided to get serious with one of them.
Is that
now?
right?
I don't know they're getting married, but I think that
they're living together.
I think they're going to live together for a while.
Yep.
And you remember, if it's again, I keep saying, if it's Siri AI, if you say Siri AI is able to do these things, there's no reason why they can't change the back end at some point and go, well, when someone asks Siri, it's going to be bloody Google now because they've got a better system. So it's just a matter of licensing the product, right?
Yeah. But do you think Apple's already they're already going to partner definitely with someone, or they're not going to just make?
It seems very clear.
They're not going to bulk up Siri with this sort of in the background.
It seems very clear they're partnering with someone to produce the results they want.
Do you think Apple is a big enough company to have done this themselves? To have
if they'd have started early enough.
Yeah.
This to me is the biggest misstep of the Tim Cook administration.
Yeah. Wow. They should have. They should have owned AI.
Think about the way Apple talks about AI, and they did it last week in London. We've had AI on our devices since the ML process, whatever. And then Google, even in their own press release, say we've been working on AI for 10 years. Okay, sure,
they all say that.
Whatever.
Samsung said the same thing. Yeah.
But essentially, they probably have.
Yeah.
And Apple
just wasn't called AI then, though.
And Apple hasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think they have been working on this style of AI.
Yes.
They've been working on this neural processing
the background
concepts
AI rather than what I call the foreground AI.
The big battle will be where is it happening? And I'll give you another example, and this is skipping ahead a bit, but Google announced this thing called not Alert for Scams, but it's called It's called anything, but it's a scam detection advice, right? Oh. Now, you know how your phone, especially Google Pixel phones, will tell you it's an SMS scam, put it in a folder. When the phone's ringing, it'll say scam.
Android phones do that.
But it's at its best on Pixel.
I had it with the Pixel 8a.
They don't all take it on board as well, right? Yep. If you've got pretty vanilla like Motorola, you'll get it. Samsung, not so much.
Yep.
They demonstrated a pop-up within a phone call that said likely scam.
Really?
So
during the call?
Yes. So by basically listening to the call and understanding the cadence of the call, the types of things they were being asked, like you need to immediately transfer, those kind of things, it'll come up and say, guys, do you want to end this call, dismiss or continue, whatever you want to do. Now, they were very clear and quick to say this is being done on device.
Yes.
Because your privacy...
No one else is listening in. Yes. It's AI, of course, on device.
Yes, but not a lot of AI is on device.
Yeah. But isn't that...
Not a lot of AI is on device. That will be Apple's big thing.
Isn't it Samsung? Wasn't a lot of that Galaxy AI on device?
Not a lot of it. No.
Most of it is, though. Like translations and all that.
The translation is just a database of words, right?
Yeah, right.
But actual, like the generative stuff, like make this sound better.
Of course. Yeah,
like I type this and I want it to sound more professional. That's cloud.
I understand that.
But, but can you imagine how much people are going to freak out when they realise that their phone is listening to them and is suggesting that their phone call is currently scam?
Yeah.
I don't think people will love that.
How much outrage would there be, though, if they've actually were saved from a scam, though?
Yes, but all you need is one false positive.
Yeah.
All you need is one person to get that alert during a normal phone call.
Yeah, right. And so if you ring me, for example, it might say dodgy call. It might say possible scam.
Yeah, but remember, this is happening while we're talking.
Yeah, right.
This is not before the call.
Not after, I understand.
This is while we're talking. Because of the things the person is saying, because of the way they're saying it, it's detecting it to be a scam. That's pretty wild.
Wow. Well, I think AI is. It's like everything. If it's used for good, there could be some amazing features here. That's a good one. I like that, the live scam detection.
Yeah, it's basically what it just won't go down well, I don't think.
And we already see that with text messages, right?
Yeah.
And so generally, the text messages that get pulled up as spam is your toll hasn't been paid. Pretty obvious ones. Yeah. But I have had I've been using Android phones for the last few weeks. I have had a call, and afterwards it came up and goes, "Do you want to? Was that a proper call? Was it a scam?
Yeah.
And do you want to add it to your contacts?" So it gives you those options as well.
Yeah.
After the call,
Android is far better in many of those respects than Apple ever has been or ever will be. The thing though that Google, they did have a demonstration within Gmail, which kind of indicated that you could kind of say. Show me all the recent messages from my kid's school or something like that, and it would do that, would bring that up. That's pretty cool, but to me that just feels like a more advanced search, which is great. We're still nowhere near. I haven't heard anyone talk about the thing that I keep needing and wanting, which is an actual AI assistant, which is help show me my most important emails.
But I understand that you can add Gemini to Google Assistant now on your phone. On the Pixel.
Yeah, but that doesn't help my inbox. I'm talking about my inbox.
Okay, right. So the Google Workspace is not there. So
nope.
It says here in this report, Gemini and Gmail are working hand in hand to make your work life easier.
Yeah, not enough.
Apparently with Gemini in Gmail, you can generate summaries of email threads.
I don't need that.
And have the ability for contextual smart reply.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't, mate. I can write my own bloody emails.
Yeah.
I can catch up on an email. There's no drama there.
You might like
I
need
management of it. I don't think they understand how many people.
Like what though? Like what?
Like I just said, show me my most important email right now.
Right, but how subjective is that? How do they know what's important to you?
It's AI. It's meant to learn. It should learn from my actions.
Maybe.
I've used Google non-stop, 100% as my email client in the web, not with Apple Mail, 100% for over a decade.
They would know you.
It should know me. And I don't care if it starts today. Start learning today and understand. Like, for example, if an email comes through from someone at 9.com.au, it's probably pretty important and I'm probably going to prioritise it.
Yeah.
If an email comes, like it should know that I sent an email about, trying to get money off someone. If they reply, it should know to bring it up to me, Right. Don't ignore that, You get lost in your emails. When you work for yourself and you get so many friggin' emails, you get lost in them.
True that. You do.
So we're a long way off that,
well,
I think.
I.O. is nowhere near that then, is it? They've got nowhere near that.
I don't think so. No.
Maybe that's I.O. in 2 years or whatever.
Maybe. But I think we're close. The one thing else that I saw someone take a screenshot. So it clearly wasn't a demo. They took a screenshot of someone wearing some sunglasses or just glasses.
Yep.
And they said Google Glasses back. And I'm like, oh, my God. But they didn't announce anything.
Right.
But there was just this subtle
So a pair of sunnies.
vision of like Ray-Ban Meta, but they looked worse. Like, let's be clear, they looked worse. But imagine, they've got to work on it.
Yeah.
They've got to work on. They've got the knowledge to, like, the other thing that they advanced in here with the AI was you can use it to analyze a video. So you could take a video and it would analyze what's in the video to kind of caption it or whatever, right?
So it's like Google Lens for videos.
Correct, right? So if they've got that ability, they put it into glasses, attached to your phone, like there's some serious power there. So we can't be far away from that.
Because Google Glass, like, it was so ahead of its time, wasn't it? It was so ahead of its time. That's 10 years ago, more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, 12 years. It was for 2012 CES, I remember.
And I remember at that CES,
people were walking around wearing the bloody things,
like
Jesus.
idiots, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me, like I'm a donut.
So I had a caller 2 months ago on the EFTM podcast. He's blind, and I said to him I wanted him to try the Ray-Ban Metas, and I wanted him to try all the iPhone stuff. So I bought him an iPhone and the Ray-Ban Metas so that he could try those things. I spoke to him again this week. It might be on this week. It might be on next week's show. Don't know. Anyway, and like the AI stuff in the glasses, we don't even have that yet. Because in America, you can say, "Hey Meta, what am I looking at?" And it'll say, "A handsome man in a white shirt." It'll tell you what you're looking at. Like that's super powerful, not just for people who are blind, but for anyone, right?
Yeah.
And then imagine it's
so
like
the glasses will do that, like because your iPhone does that now.
Yes,
if
but
you're using the camera,
you got to go like this.
No,
I'm
but if
talking
you're
about
using
realistic stuff.
But if you're using the camera, you can just hold it up and it'll say, okay, red shed, green grass, blue sky.
Yeah.
And it's already iPhone can already do that.
Glasses.
But in the glasses, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But the iPhone doesn't do it in real time in a great way.
Yeah.
It's not very good at it.
Yeah, it's an accessibility feature.
It's an accessibility.
Yeah.
It's a great feature, but you got to. I said to this guy because I
of
enabled
work.
it in the Pro.
Yeah.
He's got to get the Pro phone for a start, which is why they get him in. But you have to walk around holding a phone like this.
Yeah, right.
So not only are you probably using a cane, but you then
you need
come on,
hands-free.
let's make it real for people, right?
Yeah.
And for non-visually impaired people, the glasses allow you to go, can you remember this spot, mark it on my map, whatever, something like that, you know? Yeah, right. There's so much power that can come from Google Glass.
I'm sure smarter people than us are thinking about this, but they just haven't announced it yet.
I think they are, yeah.
You reckon they've been...
Oh, mate, the roadmap. This goes to my...
Oh, yeah.
I'd give up the game, as long as there was a guaranteed job afterwards, to see the roadmap.
Yeah. Do you think that they're, like all sort of product development, they don't give you their best version first? You know how, like, you see there's a path of progression that all companies have. You know, the phone does this, next year's going to do this, and the roadmap.
But
is that the same for AI, you reckon?
No.
Like, do you reckon Google's not going to come out heavy and say, right,
we are in an arms race. This is as good as they've got. This is as good as they've got ready.
Right.
When you look at what OpenAI announced this week, which was, point your phone at a mathematical equation and it'll just talk you through it. It was the guy went like this, and it was this environment. He went like this. Where am I? And she goes, it looks like he might be in a recording studio. Are you setting up to record something? I can see cameras and lights.
Oh, wow.
This was in real time.
Wow.
Like wild.
Okay.
Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, Apple, they all have to be at the front of this. So there's no way they're holding back right now.
I'm concerned the person doesn't know where they are. That's a problem.
No, but like it's about its ability to describe a situation.
You'd be able to use that in like traveling and stuff like that, couldn't you, I guess. But you kind of do that already with Google Lens and.
But again, put Google Lens in a glass and go, what's this sign say?
Yeah.
What's this menu say?
I did see a social media post, whether this was part of it or not, of a deaf person wearing glasses and seeing the subtitles of when people are talking.
Yeah, I mean that's
glasses.
Completely possible now, right?
Yeah. So say I'm deaf, you're looking at you, I'm wearing glasses.
Yep.
He's hearing what you're saying and putting it in my screen as a subtitle.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So you don't have to learn sign language. And I can read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really cool stuff.
Sounds like a good product.
All right. There's more on Google I.O. at EFTM.com and more to come, I'm sure, as we learn more about Android. The new Google Pixel details are at EFTM.com and techguide.com.au this week. There's a lot to see from Google. They're doing very well. But they are in an arms race with Bing, OpenAI.
Yep.
Like we are at the cusp of something very big and different changing for us in the same way that Google changed the internet and search. I really believe that.
AI.
Yeah.
You haven't heard the last of it.
Got it, Stephen.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fenech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by Arlo. Arlo, makers of great smart home wireless security cameras. And they have just been honoured with an award named after me, the Gold Stevie Award.
Oh, look out.
So yeah, they're the winner in the 2024 American Business Award. So these are pretty prestigious, the 22nd Annual American Business Award. And these are these for organisations that are operating in the US, which Arlo is. So they won the Stevie Award, and pretty major milestone,
Massive
for a business of this kind. And that's yet another honour for Arlo. And Arlo, of course, if you're after your security cameras, I wrote a little thing on Tech Guide earlier this week about the 5 features you should look for in cameras. So, we're talking about resolution, audio quality, field of view, all those things. And Arlo have all of those great features, of course. And if you are looking to get into your first camera or your 10th camera, there are plenty of options from full high definition all the way to 4K with various packs and pricing. But you can get involved for as little as $98 at Officeworks for the essential intro camera.
Cracking little
full
camera.
HD camera, weatherproof, has all the features, and at such an affordable price. Check them out, arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Very clearly in a direct response to Hubble's launch a few months ago, Fetch has confirmed, which is something we've known for a little while now, but they wanted to keep under their hat. They are launching next month free-to-air IP streams in the TV Guide. Now, what that means is you can watch 9 Now, you can watch Channel 9, the Today Show, via the 9 Now app on a Fetch box. Easy. You can click on menu, click on apps, you go to 9 Now, you open the live stream. But that's a lot of clicks. If you don't have an antenna, that's the only way you can get to the 9 stream.
Yep.
What they're doing is they're taking that stream that you would get to through those clicks and they're putting it in the TV Guide.
Yeah.
You'll still need to log into the apps. So you'll still need to have logged in because
which you would have anyway.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And if you try and tune in, I assume it's going to go, you've got to log in, which is great.
And it would give you the choice if you want to include the terrestrial or the IP.
Yeah.
As your free-to-air television.
As your free-to-air television. But if you've got no channel,
no
if you
antenna,
haven't tuned a channel, it'll simply populate it with the IP stream.
Like I said in Tech Guide, no antenna, no worries.
This is this is big.
Yeah.
Now, Scott Lawson made the point in the release that this is not perfect because there are some regional markets. The news is different. There are blackouts of some sporting events like AFL and some cricket.
Because the IP stream is sort of still considered part of the digital rights package, isn't it?
As
Digital
opposed
stream.
to being broadcast
Whereas
rights.
terrestrial through an antenna. I actually did an interview on this on Channel 7 on the weekend where they're talking about the anti-siphoning laws and whether the IP stream should be included in the free-to-air anti-siphoning because more people are watching free-to-air TV in this manner.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I think that there needs to be that distinction
now,
between them.
I think this is a Fetch, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think this is Fetch going, well, look, if Hubble's done it, then we got to do it.
Yep.
And whether or not the
but
TV
Fetch
networks...
has had this under up the sleeve for a while, haven't they?
My Fetch box here,
Yeah.
I've been live streaming Channel 9 and all the channels on that for years.
Boom.
Because Scott's always known it was possible,
Yeah.
but he always knew the flaw that there's not enough.
Yeah.
You don't have every market.
Put an asterisk next to it. Asterisk
Right.
saying you may not get all the sport.
And
Like,
that's
what's the
the
example?
challenge.
Channel 7?
Channel 7's AFL.
Channel 7 AFL. If you're live streaming, no AFL. You're watching Gilligan's Island. If you have the free to air through an antenna, boom, you got your AFL. Yeah.
So I think it's great. I think it's a nice little feather in the cap of Fetch. And I will say this also. It has been now April, May. It's been 2 months, nearly 3, since Hubble was announced.
Yep.
Crickets on Stan and Optus Sport.
Joining up for Hubble, right?
Which were announced as part of it.
Right. Slow process, apparently, eh? And there's still
Mate,
some
they
other
went off
majors
too
aren't
early.
there either, are they?
They
Like
went off too
Paramount
early.
Plus still not on Hubble, eh?
No, I don't think
Paramount
so,
Plus,
no.
Yeah.
They went off too early, mate.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's face it. They wanted to get it in for the footy seasons, the AFL and NRL season.
Maybe.
I'm positive, mate. That was it. That was the big selling point to having it all for the major.
I'll give you my
seasons.
review of Hubble Glass in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Great TV,
Yeah.
but it's useless without Chromecast or AirPlay
Right.
because it's limited.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I don't have that because I've got a lot of apps, can't watch Stan, but if I could AirPlay Stan or Chromecast, perfect.
Yeah.
What about the
Yeah.
MLB? We watch the MLB like several times a week.
Yeah.
I can't AirPlay that to the TV
Because the
ridiculous.
OS is locked off. It's locked off OS. Yeah, that's right. Well, it's if you want to play in that ecosystem, which a lot of people like.
It's a very niche user that really wants that.
Because, like I say, the Foxtel customer who has access to everything on the Foxtel box, they say, my mother does this. She doesn't. She turns the TV on, and she's got the Foxtel remote in her hand.
Yeah.
That's her world.
Yeah.
So I can understand why Habble's model there, but their IP, I do know their IP stream works really well. Slots into the guide,
but it's limited by all the same
You're
things.
also given that choice whether you want to. If you got an antenna, then
And if you're in Melbourne,
it
you get Sydney's Channel 7 News. Like it's limited.
Or some channels are state by state.
Yes.
Others just have a national feed.
Yeah.
So if you're, say, the example I always give is if you say you're living in Newcastle and you're watching Channel 9 Newcastle, you got an antenna, you're watching Newcastle news, local programming. If you are tuning in through IP, you're watching the New South Wales or national. So there's nothing granular for Newcastle.
No.
Yeah.
The
So
bigger
that's
example
the
is
difference.
Channel 7 Melbourne. You get Sydney's news at night.
Is that right? Wow.
It's horrible.
And you don't get any AFL.
There's no AFL news either.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, wow.
Anyway, it's good news from Fetch, and details are at techguide.com.au and EFTM.com, and those IP streams will drop in over the next month as we go through.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fenech.
Well, just finally, Stephen, I don't have the airs with me. The kids are using those little grimy
really?
fellas. But iPad news last week was big, and we did a show on it. In thinking back on it now and having a look at the device, and this thing is
Wow,
wild.
Look at that.
Right, that's 5 millimeters.
Look how thick the pencil is.
And pencil's way thicker than the bloody iPad, right?
Still sits there, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, still sits there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's beautiful. It's also 100 grams lighter, and I'll tell you right now, it's noticeable. You know when you throw the iPad Pro in your bag, the big one.
Can I get my 11?
You've only got the 11-inch, but still, it's noticeably lighter. It's amazingly thinner. The screen is beautiful. Battery life is awesome. It's just way too powerful for anything that you need it to do.
So this is the M2 iPad
M2
Pro
iPad,
with it's 11-inch. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's our. Let's go.
Well, the 11-inch is actually thicker than the 13-inch anyway.
much
But it's
far. No,
mate,
it's
it's a
pretty
millimeter. It's a portion of a millimeter.
Yeah.
I'll give you this
I need a clean
example.
cloth.
I'll give you this example of the power and performance. Now, I did this really quickly in my video, and thankfully didn't share the audio. But it's hard.
iPad on the back of it? Oh, it says iPad Pro.
The
Why
hard.
doesn't mine say iPad Pro?
No, they'd never said that before. There you go. Yeah. The hard way it's impossible to demonstrate this thing's got an M4 processor and it's unbelievably powerful, right? Yeah. But Logic Pro is an amazing bit of kit, right? It's music production software, let's call it that. Mm-hmm. Now, the feature I'm going to explain here, it has been available apparently on PC, on the Mac for a while, but let's just remember what I'm about to talk about happened on this bloody laptop, on this iPad, right?
Right.
So you drop in this case, it's an MP3 file in, right? And this is I'm not going to play it because it's a cassette of me singing with a couple of mates playing music 30 years ago.
What?
Recorded on cassette, right? No. Now, what happened
Can you
is...
play it to me off air later?
No. Maybe. This Logic Pro has a thing, I think it's called stem separation.
Wow.
So you drop the track in. I'm going to see whether I can do one in real time for you, Stephen, right?
Stem separation.
Create a project, right? I'm going to create a project. I'm going to have just an audio track. I don't know how to do that. And then I'm going to split the screen. Just bear with us here, folks.
Great podcasting.
Split view and open the Files app because I'm pretty sure that I dropped the file somewhere in here.
It's script from the
Here it
movie
is.
podcast.
Great song, Why Do You Have to Be a Woman? Written by Mick Sloggett when I was in year 12.
What?
And, yeah, so that's the song. I don't know how to get rid of
not
that
gonna play
sidebar
it,
there. Look, I'll play it just to prove that it's a thing.
Who's your mate?
That's my mate playing there, and then it's me singing. Okay, I'm not going to sing. Okay, and then you have the ability now in here, right? I click a button.
So these are called the secret tapes. So these
Look
are
at
the
this.
tapes.
This is called Stem Splitter, right? Yeah. I'll click Stem Splitter, and I'm going to split vocals, drums, bass, and other.
What?
Now this
Just
track,
from a 30-year-old recording.
yes, right? I'm going to click Split.
Oh,
Look
my
at
God.
Okay, now
That
I can
happened
now isolate. How do I get to these bloody? I need to get rid of this sidebar. There we go. I want to be able to mute a track. There's meant to be a control here. There it is. So if I now mute the vocal track, the song will play. No singing. You can hear it muffled in the background. I can even mute the keyboard and just have the bass guitar. Can you hear that? That's just a bass guitar playing.
It's separated all
all those things. I'll quickly show you, Stephen.
That's power, baby.
Just singing, right? Okay, that's
that
just
you?
singing,
Was
right?
that you?
Yes, that's just singing. It's separated.
Your voice was a lot higher back then, wasn't it?
Mate, can we just stop for a moment and go, this iPad, not connected to the cloud, took a song, and I guess if I took a real, like a Beatles song or something, mate, this is what Peter Jackson had to create the Now and Then song for the Beatles.
Wow.
This just happened on an iPad.
Unbelievable.
It's too powerful. You don't need it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know why you'd buy the Pro.
Was that a demo? Did you demonstrate that in London? Was that a demo?
Yes.
Or you just
So they
held
had
it
a
for
track.
yourself?
They filmed a guy, like a really cool singer, in a not a cafe. It was like a corner. Let's say a corner of an office, and he was singing along with some mates. But it was a single stereo recording, and so what they did was they separated it out, just had his vocals, and then the thing that I haven't been able to work out is there's all these things called session drummers and session, and it's AI. You just press a button and the drums play along.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, mate, it was unbelievable.
When's someone going to come out with the first AI album? Have they already done that?
They probably have. We don't know about.
Probably
it.
done.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It's probably Taylor Swift's the poets.
Oh, come on. Ooh.
So iPad Pro,
admit that.
way too powerful but amazing, right? So if you can afford it, get it.
Yeah.
The best news of the week is definitely the price drop on the standard iPad, 10th gen, $599.
Yep.
But
Going to buy one for Joe to take away with us.
the fact that, remember Apple said, and I mentioned this last week, they said 50% of iPad Pro sales are the bigger version,
Big
right?
13-incher.
Then you
That's
look
the
at
13-incher there.
That's the 13-incher. Then you look at what they did with the iPad Air. I reckon the iPad Air 13-inch will be
the go-to.
I reckon it's like Apple Watch Ultra.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how many of these there are around?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot.
There's a lot. And so I reckon there was a bump in Apple Watch sales with the Ultra.
For sure.
I reckon there'll be a bump in iPad sales with the big Air.
That will. I think I said last week that my choice would be the iPad Air 13-inch.
Yeah.
Because the iPad Pro 13-inch
You don't
is
need
great.
this much power.
That it's like the
You
old
could
breaking egg with a
spend.
sledgehammer.
Did you do the
trick.
numbers? You could spend $4,500 on one of these.
I know. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Don't get me started.
Also, the Magic Keyboard, the only way to tell the difference
mate.
is this hinge is an oval instead of a circle.
Right.
It's the only way to tell the
It is really
difference.
slick, eh? Look how thin that is.
But it's more than double the size of the iPad.
It is too, eh? Wow.
And that feels heavy to me.
It does.
Yeah. Now take the iPad out and you'll be like, oh, this is super light. So you've got this real trade-off of its existence. Yeah.
Oh.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. How much this way now?
Done 100 grams less than the last one. That's all I remember.
Disappearing, watch this. It just disappears. Very dirty screen, mate. What have you been doing to this thing?
Just using it.
Dirty screen.
I've been using it as my primary device.
Really?
No laptop.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How's that gone for you?
It's been tough because, things like, I don't know, you think about our websites, the back-end WordPress and stuff.
Yeah.
It all works, but it's like sometimes you've got to zoom in to click the button. Dropping media files is not quite as easy as just drag and drop. You might on a Windows-based
resizing
device.
stuff and that,
It's good. I edited a video on here. It was great. But in the end, when I filmed the review of this, I edited on here and I went, bugger this. I know Premiere and Blackmagic way better than Final Cut, and I don't know where all the buttons are. I'm out. I'll just do it on the computer. That was easier. So
I use Final
give and
Cut.
take.
I'll have a crack on Final Cut.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's enough.
That's great. The iPad Pro, expensive iPad. iPad Air, less expensive iPad.
And the 13
13-inch.
is the sweet spot.
That's what I'm getting.
Most importantly,
Yeah,
though,
that's me.
the standard 10th generation iPad,
Yeah.
Great buy.
$599.
$599.
And it's the same. It's M2,
No.
M1. It's
Isn't it
A15. Or
Isn't it
something.
A17
It's
or
the
something?
A something, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got no home button too. It's all screen.
It's all screen.
Yeah.
So it
That's
looks,
your go-to
it has
iPad.
the same look and everything.
Go to iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to buy one for Joe when we go
And
away.
also, 10th gen comes in a range of really vibrant colours, which I think is appealing. Last question. When does the 11th generation come out? Next year?
You'd think so. Well, it's been...
They won't do one this year.
That was announced 18 months ago with the other ones. Yeah, so unless they do it at the back end of this year, late in the year, They might have just an iPad event in November or something, or October.
That'd be really weird, given they've just had a massive iPad event.
But you got to remember, like the iPad is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
I think that they might even have like an M2 or an M1 maybe, I don't know, to change it to all.
I think they'll realise they're going to get great sales at $599 and they need to keep that price down.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't reckon they'll go
$749 was a big price, and $599 I reckon they'll sell more.
Maybe that's why they dropped the price, because the next one, the 11th gen, might be dropping in 6 months, and it's going to be $799 again.
I hope not.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Good to
Righto.
talk to you. See you next week.
Awesome.
Goodbye.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fenech.